along the river. A deer came in front of his car, and he swerved and ended up upside down in the hillside, and his car stuck there for many hours. Because he was in a remote area, no one came to find him. He was unconscious this whole time. A long-haul truck driver eventually discovered him, but because they were so far out, there was no hospitals nearby. Also, they tried to use a helicopter to locate him, and it was too foggy for them to see the car. So he really, really was kind of in a situation where the cards just kept stacking against him. Finally, they were able to get an ambulance to his location. The truck driver had no cell service, so the truck driver had to leave the scene and go to a town nearby to get cell service. It was really just a lot of like bad luck, which I think is why his story is so impressive, because he hasn't let any of this stuff stand in his way. He was in a coma for 4 months. And when he came out of it, well, during the time he was in a coma, his doctor at the hospital told his parents that his quality of life would be so poor that he should be euthanized, and that they did not think there was a reason to keep going. But his parents didn't give up on him. He also talks about his faith. He is a Christian. He talks about his belief in Jesus helping him through these times, and his parents. Decided to keep him alive on life support. The other thing I want to note about his story that I picked up on is that even before this happened to him, he was a very determined, athletic, active person. He was running marathons at the age of 15. So I'm sure his parents kind of knew that their son had a fighting spirit about him, which is, again, what I hope the listeners take away from this episode, is that we can be dealt a really shitty hand in life, but we still have a choice and a decision to make on how we're going to handle that hand. If we're going to fold and give up and feel hopeless and decide that my life sucks and this is just what it is, or are we going to push through resistance, overcome obstacles, and keep getting up every single day to try to take on the challenges that are put in our way. It took him 4 years to learn to walk without assistance. He had to learn how to speak again because of the traumatic brain injury. He talks about what the injury was in our episode, so I won't go into all of that. And now he does physical training and is going to college to be he's in physical therapy school as well as another college program. So I just really want people to take away from this episode that Brenden is an inspiration in how, no matter what we have in our lap at the time, how sucky things can look, that we can get through it, and that we have support if we just choose to engage with that support. So again, Brenden Nichols, the Mighty Miracle Man. I will link his show or his website in the show notes. I will also tag him on Instagram once this goes live. And I really hope you enjoy the episode. Thanks for listening. Please share this with somebody you know who may be interested in fitness training or health and wellness, or somebody who's had a really rough, existence with their physical health. This could be inspiring to other people. But yeah, enjoy this week's episode of Open Wounds Podcast. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Open Wounds Podcast. I'm your host, Candace, and today I have a guest with me. His name is Brenden Nichols. Is that correct?
Yes.
He also goes by the Mighty Miracle Man. That's his website and his branding. He has a really unique story to share with us today about his own journey with overcoming obstacles and his own mental health journey, and how he integrates that into his career and how he's made, his life his own and taken control of his life and done what he wants with it, which I think is a big theme right now. We see globally, people are really dissatisfied. They're really upset with the way corporations and capitalism is going, and they're upset by, a lot of things. And so I think his story is really cool because he's definitely taken ownership of his life, and he's creating it, his reality, the way he wants to create it. And so welcome to the podcast, Brenden.
Thank you, Candace.
Yeah, so if you want to share with the viewer or the viewers and the listeners a little bit about your backstory, like how you ended up becoming like a motivational speaker and a fitness person, like how you got into this field.
Of course. So, back in 2011, I was in a really terrible single car accident where I swerved to miss a deer. The car steering malfunctioned, tried to throw me into a river. I overcorrected, but saved my life and ended up hitting a mountain, hung upside down in the car for between 2 and 8 hours before anyone even found me. It was such a remote area. I'm actually in that area as we record this because I like it, the remote area.
Yeah, so
Anyway, it was a long haul truck driver who came upon the accident and they went to call 911, but no cell coverage, so he had his load to drive to the nearest emergency phone line, and it's foggy, so that flight couldn't come.
wow.
And they decided to drive an ambulance from the nearest trauma one center an hour away in Missoula because Lewis is closer but no trauma one center. I was in bad shape. They get there an hour later or so, extract me with the jaws of life. I have 6 broken ribs, 2 broken clavicles, separated sternum, broken neck at C4, and punctured lung. Yet I look completely fine. And they get me to the hospital. They don't think I'll make it, but I do. 2 or 3 days later, the bruises show up. I'm the color of the shirt.
Wow. Yeah, that's intense. So you were in the hospital for a couple days and they're doing their tests and assessing.
No. I was comatose for those few days. Well, 4 months actually, but the bruises didn't show up until a few days later.
Wow. So you were in a coma then for how long?
4 months.
Wow. That's crazy. Because I think a lot of people assume either the coma is quick and you come out of it quickly, but if it's long, then the longer you're in the coma, the lower your chances of survival. At least that's what I've heard.
Yes, that's absolutely true. I have my degree in human physiology, which I went back after getting the brain injury, but mainly because I was so intrigued with the human body still.
Wow. Yeah. So 4 months in a coma. And I'm assuming when you woke up, your whole life was like trying to start
Oh,
over, like your job and your family and where you live. Like, I can't imagine just not even the medical stuff, but how your life, the brakes get slammed on, and what happens to your pets, like all those things we don't think about, right?
Yes. Luckily, I was a college student at the time, and the college was really nice about the money we had paid and everything, so we got that back for medical stuff, which was good because I'm a multi-million-dollar baby at this point.
Yeah. It's insane how much these medical things will cost. So you're in college, all this happens, you wake up in the hospital. I would imagine there was a lot of like recovery time that you can't just like get up and walk out. So what did that look like?
Yes, and comas aren't like what you see in movies. You don't just wake up and then go about your life. There are steps. Like, it took me 4 years to walk completely unassisted.
Wow, yeah. And that's because you chose, I'm not going to give up on walking, because I think so many people would
Yes,
say, oh, just put me in a wheelchair.
they just think how good enough I could just roll around. While that's good for some people, I had goals.
Yeah.
I wanted to race Ironman Triathlon,
Wow.
which I still do, and I could do that in a wheelchair, yes, but I didn't want to.
Right.
I decided one day, after throwing a little pity party for a few months, I'm like, no, get up and go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the difference I think about your story, because you now are walking, you're talking, you're into fitness, so you're physically active on a daily basis, which is more than most people, right? And so there has to be some kind of internal motivating factor and
Yes,
determination to continue to push through all these
and
obstacles.
yes, that reminds me of the story actually when I was in a coma. One of the neurosurgeons, which I was going to be one, but this changed my mind, told my parents that euthanasia would be a better option than the life I would lead. But my parents found him on the spot, thank goodness. And I'm here now. I have a new path. I don't want to be a
Yeah.
neurosurgeon.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what's different about your story, is that you never let the tragedies and the traumas that were happening to you stop you from achieving your goals. Because I know, like you said, the pity party thing, sometimes I'll be like, oh, this isn't working the way I thought it was going to work, and it's taking longer than I thought it was going to take. Maybe I should just give up and focus on something else. But you were so determined that you were like, no, we're not giving up. We're just going to keep going, and we're going to keep pushing through until we get the results we want.
Yes, even if you have to redirect a few times, keep the main goal, and pursue that. And people think that goal achievement looks like this, but it really actually looks like this.
Yeah. Which is helpful, because even for myself, I think, oh, I feel like I was getting momentum, and then something happened, and now I feel like I'm backsliding. And I think there's a lot. It's easy for people to say, this just isn't meant to be for me. I just am, fated to this life, and people will let go of things really easily. So I want to know, like, how, when you were in those really dark times where you were like, oh my gosh, this is taking so long, or I'm so frustrated, like, how did you lift your spirits and keep your mental health in a place where you could keep trying?
Yeah, well, I've always had an internal drive, like since I was young. I raced my first marathon, full marathon at age 15.
Wow.
So I'm bad and determined. My parents counted on that when they find that doctor. And look at me now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty impressive that your parents knew this is what he wants. He wants to keep
Yes,
going. He's going to want this. And so we're not going to listen to this doctor, because it is really easy for us to hear something like from a teacher or a professor or a parent or, a boss that's like,
authority figure of some sort.
yeah, and then we take that as like our Bible and our truth, and we don't keep trying, and we don't find another way around. Yeah. So,
Yes, I believe there's only one truth. His name is Jesus Christ.
okay, yeah. So you had your faith during this time too. So I'm
Yes,
assuming you were praying, and your church was supporting you and all those things as well.
yes.
Okay. So now, current day, like, bring us up to speed on how you've integrated this, and made it something to where you're just doing your life, and you're not letting it hold you back.
Well, I started once I woke up from the coma and got out of the hospital and everything. I went back to school like before I even had the doctor okay,
Mm,
because doctors don't know everything.
yeah.
And so I took just one class and I did really well with that. And then I followed that. I've gotten into fitness because I'm I had always been into fitness, like I said, with the marathon
Mhm.
at age 15. Even before I could stand and walk, I was doing curls on my knees and pull ups with my wheelchair.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you definitely, that's something too. I think it's important for people to realize is when we're exercising, and I'm talking to myself now, when it's releasing positive neurochemicals in our body, and endorphins and adrenaline, things that
The
are, yeah, the
neurotransmitters and good
neurotransmitters.
stuff.
Yeah, so if you're used to using that as a way to, like, manage your stress and to keep yourself in a good mind frame, and as it's, some people, it's their coping skill. When they feel down, they go for a jog, or if they're feeling frustrated about life, they'll go to the gym. And so you really had already built that foundation in before
Yes,
this happened, so it was there for you to come back to, you know even before you could walk, like you said. So you're going to college, you're getting back into your exercise routine. It's funny you mentioned the Ironman. I live in Kona, on the big island of Hawaii,
oh,
and the
so
Ironman
you know all
is
about the
massive
Ironman.
here. It takes over the
I,
whole island almost once it's here, at least
the
the half of the
World
island.
Championships.
Yeah, so
I'm
maybe one day
I'm
I'll
good
see you
friends
here.
with people that have gone there multiple times for World Championships.
Yeah, it's a very, very hard course, because um, both the run and the bike are not shaded whatsoever. It's
Yikes.
hot. It's very, very hot. So yeah, but maybe one day I'll see you here, and I can wave a sign for you. Um,
I'll give you a high five on
yeah.
my way past.
Yeah, yeah. So, you definitely have a lot of internal motivation and a lot of drive, and, just overcoming obstacles and using your faith. to help you get through times. So you completed college, and then did you go into the medical field?
I did. I tried. Like I started medical school, but it just wasn't a good fit. I still may go back sometime, but the one I chose wasn't a good fit.
Mm.
It took a mental toll, so I left. And the thing about mental health, if something's not serving you, cut it off.
Yeah, that's so important because I think people will keep, at least I have noticed this with myself, you'll stay in a bad situation because you're like, well, what else am I going to do? I've already been here this long. I don't want to give up. But it's actually wasting my time because it's not the
Yes.
right thing for me. And looking back, I wish I would have left sooner, kind of thing, you know?
And so backtracking a little bit on my fitness journey, on my physical therapist assistant, who's a good friend and Ironman athlete, Sean Burke, and introduced me to fitness and training people. He offered me a job as a fitness trainer and said he'd pay for my first certification, and it all kind of ballooned from there.
Wow. So now you're a fitness trainer. That's your career. So if somebody
Yes,
wants to call you, they can get coaching or training. Do you do online and in person?
I do mainly online, but if I'm in the area and you want it in person, I do that as well. Like I have multiple clients online, and then a few that I meet up with them sometimes.
Yeah, which
Yeah, like online fitness is actually more beneficial because you meet with a physical trainer maybe once a week, twice a week. Online, and they have you back 24/7 almost.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you can ask them right then.
Mm, yeah, I think especially when COVID hit, so much of the fitness world had to go online anyway. So
Yes.
we're in a new, with the technology we have, thankfully, where people can see, the trainer can see your form on a video or FaceTime or something. They can correct you and guide you through all those things. So, um, you got your first certification. So I know you've been doing this for a long time now, right? Like it's been a while for you doing training.
Since 2015, so about 10 years.
Wow. Yeah. So is there something you can tell the listeners or the viewers about when they, because I think people, want to see the results, and then when they don't see the results quickly, they want to quit. So do you have some advice or tips or tricks for people to stick to it?
Patience, grasshopper, patience. I mean that kind of tongue in cheek, but you don't see results overnight. I mean, did you gain that 20 pounds overnight? How are you gonna lose it overnight or in a week? It doesn't work like that. And good things take time, like flowers, they have to grow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. I think people are so used to, like, in our country now, you can order something on Amazon and it can come the same day if you're in the right town. And so Yeah. For most people, when you're working with them, do you see, like there's a breaking point where they want to quit and you have to kind of encourage them to keep going?
Yes, I'm like, no, you gotta keep pushing through this. I know it's hard. I've been there. I use myself as a motivator because, I mean, it took me 4 freaking years to walk unassisted. I could walk with the walkers and stuff. It's like, take a deep breath. Think of everything you have accomplished.
Mm.
You're getting there. It's more about the mindset shifts, and that'll serve you long term than the immediate physical results.
Yeah, I think that's what you said about looking at your progress and like basically acknowledging the steps and the achievements you've made so far, because so many people are like, I want to do the Ironman World Championship in Kona, and when they do their first 5K they don't celebrate it. They're just like, oh, whatever, I still have to learn how to run this many miles, right? And so
Mm.
make sure that you give yourself, appreciation and look back on the things you have
Yeah,
accomplished. And
absolutely.
yeah. So do you have like a plan that you usually work with people, like when you first come in and they want to start training with you? Like, do you interview them, or how would somebody, want to work with you?
I interview them, motivational interviewing. I'm like, where are you now? And see what's going on with their life, where they want to be. And then I get them to come up with the idea on their own
Mm.
of how they're going to take action. It all starts with the mindset, and I have my own method, the Mighty Miracle Man method.
Yeah, you want to talk a little bit more about your method and why your method's different than other trainers you've seen out there?
I start with mindset, and everything boils down to mindset and belief in something higher. I believe Jesus and faith, like I have an acronym, SPAM, is spiritual health, physical health, emotional and mental health. And those are the 4 pillars of health. It all starts with spiritual belief in something greater, or have like your mindset. You have to get spiritual health right first,
Mm.
and then everything flows from that. Like your physical, I have the another acronym just for these. Like physical is NASH, nutrition, activity, supplementation. Those lead to optimal health.
Mm.
And then emotional and mental health. I use the acronym PISS.
Mhm.
Like, if you get angry, stop and piss on it. Is it physically harmful?
Mm.
No. Did I do something wrong with this matter in 7 years?
Mm.
Do I need sleep to deal with this better?
Mm.
Go through those, and usually you'll find out what's going on.
So that one is the physical one is sleep and what were the other two? The P and the I?
Is it physically harmful?
Oh, okay.
Like if someone texts you, and that probably isn't a good situation to stay in.
Okay. Okay.
And the I is, did I do something wrong?
Okay. So more like accountability, like taking
Yes,
accountability for your part in the situation.
yes,
So, do you need to leave for your physical safety? Do you need to take accountability for your own part? What did you do? And if you didn't do anything wrong, then, that's a different situation. And then sleep. Yeah, because I think so many of us, if we're not getting enough sleep, that's going to cause a lot of repercussions in our life.
you're way more sensitive to things and just overall grumpy.
Yeah. Yeah. So you basically do a full assessment of somebody. What's their
Yes,
spiritual life like? What's their nutrition? Are they getting enough sleep? Are they, making sure that you're also checking in on, like you said, with the physical and the emotional, the acronym, that's part of the mindset. Like, are they,
yes.
are they working on their inner self as well?
The Mighty Miracle Man method is a holistic approach I use. Like, I don't know of many coaches that use holistic approaches. They usually focus just on activity and nutrition. It's about way more than that. Like, your nutrition and activity can be great, they can be an A plus, but if you get an F in sleep and relationships, emotional, mental health, you're not gonna do well.
Yeah, I think that's so true because I know for myself in the past, I'll be like, well, I'm doing this and I'm eating this, but I'm not seeing any results. And so you start digging around on the internet and people are talking about, oh, well, are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting enough water? Is your adrenal glands or your cortisol too high? And then you're like, oh, I don't know. Is it like, so it's a lot of self-reflection in your approach.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the things I like to have people do if they aren't seeing results and can't figure out why is a hormone panel because I hate to say it, but it all boils down to physiology as much as we hate to admit it sometimes. Like calories in, calories out, but there are variables in between there. That's what most people don't realize. Hormones and activity are just two of those.
Yes, absolutely. I'm thinking back to a client I had a long time ago. She had, I think it's called Hashimoto's. It's a thyroid disease.
Hashimoto's thyroid.
Yeah, and she was like, I only eat one small meal a day. And she was literally like obese, like she was ballooning out and she was very swollen.
Because you can't process any of that.
Yeah. So I think
Your body just tosses it in the doors.
Yeah, it was really difficult for me to be like, well, I don't know what to tell you besides go to the doctor and deal with the Hashimoto's first. So when you're talking about a hormone panel, I think that's so important, especially as women go through menopause or, after they've had a baby, there are hormone fluctuations, and I'm sure the hormones fluctuate in men as well as they.
Yes,
Yeah, so you
for
would
sure.
recommend a hormone panel when people aren't seeing results. What do you usually like once it comes back? What is going on that's preventing? Is it like somebody doesn't have enough testosterone, or what is happening that you guys usually find the underlying cause?
Like for men particularly, if they aren't building any muscle, like if they're young and they aren't seeing results, they're putting on fat and not muscle, and they're doing everything correct. It's usually testosterone, and then with the aging males, testosterone also plays a role. With women, it can be progesterone or estrogen. And also, they have a tiny bit of testosterone, like that helps build muscle and burn fat.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's
It can also make you really angry, though, which is where roid rage comes.
oh,
Don't
testosterone.
do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
You only testosterone replacement therapy prescribed by a doctor for good results I recommend.
Yes, that's good to know, because I know people will go to like GNC and buy all these different crazy things. They think they're going to solve all their problems and rely really heavily on supplements. And I know you mentioned
Yes,
supplements in one of
while
your
those
admins.
have a place, I'm not dismissing those. I mean, DHEA is a precursor to testosterone, and that works well also for muscle building, but you have to keep yourself in check, like you monitor things like libido, anger, emotional health. Like I use in my practice, it's all about holistic health.
Yeah. Yeah. So supplements, like you said, have their place, but you can't rely too heavily on them or get like down that rabbit hole, which is an expensive rabbit hole to be down.
Yes, I I take supplements. Yes, there's one supplement in particular. I don't think we have time to go fully into it now, but I'll email you, Brenden, if that's okay.
Yeah. So back to working with your clients and helping them overcome their limitations and their own, mindset things. What is something that, you see people sabotaging themselves, where they're actually making progress and then they start to derail?
If they assume that they're this far behind when actually they're probably 2 or 3 steps ahead of most people. And the comparison is a thief of their joy a lot of times. It's like they see all these fitness models that are in such great shape. They look down and see their tummy, even though it's little, and they're like, I'm doomed.
Yeah, so comparison.
Instagram has been great for a lot of things, but people take advice from influencers on Instagram a lot. Look at their credentials. They don't usually have any other than six-pack abs.
Yeah, I think people think, oh, well, they look the way I want to look, so I'll just do what they're doing and it'll work for me. And like you were saying, every person is going to have their own unique needs and their own unique challenges.
everybody is different. Like, I want to emphasize the separation of those words. Everybody, like, uh, you have your own personal body, and that's different from your friend who's got a six pack or that influencer who does nothing, eats cake and cookies all the time,
Mhm.
and yet they have a six pack, but they try and sell you a supplement, but buy them for some fat burner.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's common. People, especially like you said, calories in, calories out. I was reading through a thread of people, there was a video about something fitness related, and then there's people commenting, and one of the guys was like, it's simple, calories in, calories out. And I was like, not always is calories in, calories out gonna solve all your problems, because I know people who will actually cut so much so that their body gets used to being on this many
Yes,
calories. So there's nowhere to go. You can't eat, you can't cut any lower.
exactly. You can't cut indefinitely, but at the same time, you can't bulk indefinitely, or you'll wind up 500 pounds.
Right. Our body isn't a robot. It's not a machine. So we can't just control and manipulate it any old way we want to. Like you said, every
No,
person is different.
a holistic health. That's the most important thing. Holistic.
Yeah. Like, I think a good point when you're talking about the emotional state is, if you're like, I know for me, if I'm having a bad day and I don't feel good mentally, I will want junk food to calm, like to soothe myself, right? Like, it makes me want
Yes.
to regulate my nervous system through my food. And so I know that, I can't be the only one this is happening to. So managing our emotions and our mental health is just as important, because otherwise we'll fall back into habits that aren't helping us.
Absolutely. And that's where most people go for comfort in the modern age. Food, if you think about it, it makes sense too. Like, we have access to good tasting, not good for you food usually 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
And many times prior, uh, we didn't. We had to work for our food.
Yeah. Yeah. I think about that even when I'm going into the kitchen and I'm like, oh, I'm hungry. Do I want to sit here and take the time to chop up these vegetables and then cook them and then eat them? Or do I want to grab a bag of Doritos? Like, our
But
society has
we
set it up.
often go for hyper palatable foods that don't take much effort because, hey, that's a quick dopamine fix.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's, about how our food is being packaged and sold to us. It's easy to consume, it's ready to go, it's shelf stable, it
It
can sit
looks
there forever.
pretty.
Yeah, but then it takes more effort and work to eat healthy. I have a friend of mine who loves to just like cook vegetables all the time, and she's always in the kitchen chopping. And I'm like, Rachel, I feel like you're in the kitchen all day long just chopping vegetables, chopping
One of
vegetables.
the things I recommend for people is make it easy. Chop up the vegetables ahead of time so then you have those go-to options available. And then you go to reach for a bag of carrots instead of bag of Doritos.
Yeah. And I found some little ones that come like in baggies that are
Yeah,
microwavable and it's vegetables. So I'm like, oh, okay, just pop it in the microwave 5 minutes and then you could just eat it that way. You don't have to like do anything.
there's been a good change in the food industry that I've seen is a lot of more healthy options are becoming available.
Yeah. Yeah. So you talk about holistic health and working with the whole person. And I know you do personal training. We're getting close to time, so where can somebody find you if they want to work with you, if they want to train with you? I mean, how long do you work with people? Is it usually short term or like forever? What, can you describe that for a little bit?
It depends on the person, but first things first, people can find me at www.themightymiracleman.com. I'll send you the link and you can post that wherever.
Okay.
But I I do like to work with people indefinitely. Although I would get paid better if
Yeah.
I did. Like I want to give you the skill set so that you can do it on your own, and that way I can take heart in knowing that I changed a life.
Mm,
That's my ultimate reward. I do work with people consistently, long term though, because everything happens in life and things come up. You might need some support from me. That's okay.
yeah.
I I have I do contracts of 3 months, 6 months, and a full year, just depending. And I also have month to month once people go through that because sometimes you like to have someone on call when you've gone through the process of adaptation. That's what it's all about. Adaptation.
Yeah, I think that's important because I know for me, accountability is part of it. If I can find, oh, I know I have paid for this, so I'll go take this class. Or I know that my friend is going to ask, like, if I don't show up to go on the walk with them, then I'm letting them down. So I do think trainers are crucial in creating that accountability, you know.
Yes, people who pay attention. I know it's kind of a trite phrase, but it's true. I mean, and what's more, people who pay a lot of attention. When's the last time you called some a business that gave you a $1 pen?
Yeah.
Can you think of a time?
Yeah, I think it's true. Like if you invest your finances into something, you're going to be committed because this thing costs me money and now I want to make sure
Yes.
I'm getting my money's worth out of it. But I do think the accountability of the trainer to, like you said, answer questions and be there for you, and then also um if you get injured or you twist your ankle, a lot of times people want to know, what
Yes.
can I do instead of my normal routine? To have the trainer there is really helpful.
That's actually what I specialize in. having gone through all sorts of things with my traumatic brain injury, I had to adapt and overcome and really just get through it, but I had to keep doing things consistently. You just have to figure out what works for you and do it. I mean, like my curls on my knees, I couldn't stand up and balance with the weight, so I would fall on my face. So I would stand on my knees and crawl.
Yeah, finding things to still be able to exercise and make accommodations for something that's happening with somebody is important for the trainer to be able to help you and guide you, because if you try to do it like you've seen a video on YouTube and you're like, that's not working and it hurts or it's doing this, then you'll give up. But I think the trainer is so helpful in that.
Yes, one thing I do want to say here is that old phrase, no pain, no gain. That's no way. That's baloney. Like, yes, there's a certain pain with muscle work, soreness, but if you feel pain in your joint, stop. Don't do that. You're damaging yourself.
Yeah, that's really helpful to know, because like my husband right now is going to physical therapy for his shoulder because he can lift one shoulder up, but the other one he gets like this and he's like, it hurts really bad. So you're right. Yeah, if you keep pushing yourself to go through it, you can cause permanent damage. And I think,
Yes,
like you said, the influencers or just anything that you find on the internet isn't tailored specifically to your needs and helping you as with your own.
exactly. And that's what I specialize in. People who watch this can also get a free training session with me if they use code the Mighty Miracle Man. Just email me.
Okay. Yes, and I will put in the show notes your website and your email, since you want them to email you the code Mighty Miracle Man. I'll put the code in there as well. That way anybody who wants to take advantage of this for sure can. And I know you have other things too that you've produced, like marketing materials and stuff for your business. So if they want to go look at your website and watch your videos, they can get to know you more on there as well.
Yes, like I have a YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm on everything.
Good. I'll tag you.
Although I don't post as much as some people, I'm not trying to be the loudest. The loudest people usually don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. So I will post links to your social, and then when the episode comes out, there's usually like a clip of it that I put online, and I'll tag you so that you'll have that. But thank you so much for being on today. I know that you really are inspiring, and obviously we all have to overcome our own stories, and you were able to overcome so many obstacles that, it's really hard for somebody to tell you I can't do it when they hear your story. Like, what excuse
Yes.
do most of us have, right? So
Do we have time for me to quickly go through what doctor told me?
yeah, absolutely.
Like, first they said I wouldn't live when I did. Then they said I wouldn't talk when I did. Then they said I wouldn't walk when I did. And they said I would never live a high quality of life, But guess what I do? You're just about proving them wrong.
Yeah.
You just got to do your thing, keep the faith, and keep going. Never give up, never say never, and God will bring you through.
Yeah, that's awesome because really, it was your decision every day when you woke up to say, I'm going to make this my life. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to listen to what people are telling me. I'm making my life what I want it to be, which is
Exactly.
something we can all use on a daily basis. So thank you so much, Brenden, for coming on. I really appreciate chatting with you. And for the listeners, please share this episode with other people and like and subscribe, and go follow Brenden on his socials and all the other stuff. And thanks so much, everyone. Have a great week.